Okay, someone on Quora recently asked the question, do you believe that in a relationship there is always one person that is more in love than the other?
This is true. This is how attraction works. And the reason why this is true is because attraction is subjective. If I find you attractive, it doesn't mean he's gonna find you attractive. It doesn't mean she's gonna find you attractive. It's just me. And even if we like the same person, our levels of attraction towards that person cannot be the same because we all perceive attraction differently. What this also means is that no two people like each other exactly the same amount. In a relationship, one person likes the other more and one person likes the other less. And these positions can fluctuate throughout the course of the relationship. That's normal. That's how attraction works.
I wonder too, how many of y'all's, if you women clapped about being in a relationship where somebody loves you more, or at least you can quantify it, how many of your moms actually told you that you need to fall in love with somebody who loves you more than you love them?
Yeah.
Okay,
I would
that's
say
a huge
a lot
thing
of
in my
women have been
culture.
told that.
Yes.
In your culture?
Yeah, in my culture, it's very much told that the man, you should link up with somebody who you know you could walk away from so that they don't have a clutch on your heart.
Now, I don't know what culture she's talking about, but this is interesting because she asks, how many of your moms, not dads, how many of your moms told you to link up with somebody who you know you can walk away from? Of course, moms are going to say that because maybe they've been hurt before and they don't want their daughters to make the same mistakes. Now, I choose to believe that most moms want the best for their daughters. So this advice might be genuine, but it's not coming from a healthy place. But what I want to know is what about the dad's opinion? Would he agree? This is really bad advice, and I'm going to explain to you why in a little bit. But let's continue for now.
And a lot of people have believed that that's actually what's going to make them stay.
Yes.
What do you mean?
That will make a man, I've heard the same thing, that will make a man want you more because you don't want them
So
as
it's like
much.
he's chasing?
Yes.
Correct. And they say men are predators, so they're the predators in relationships. Like, they like the chase.
Right.
Yes.
And if there is a woman that is always like, I love you, but I love me more, that is considered to be very attractive to certain men.
Yes.
Yes, that is attractive to certain men. Do you know what kind of men she's talking about? Damaged men. But hey, if that's your thing, do you.
And when you just said about what your therapist said, bringing it back full circle about if you want to go look for a narcissist, you go to LA. If you're that type of person in a relationship where you actually want that person to love you more, you just might be that narcissist.
Ooh.
Because there's only narcissists that want that type of relationship.
Narcissist, huh? Okay, let's talk about it. If I'm wrong, you tell me in the comment section, Ben, you're wrong and here's why you're wrong. Then we can have a discussion. But the reality is that she has to love him more than he loves her. She needs to be more interested, more invested, more devoted to the man than he is to her. If she is, there is a good chance the relationship is going to work. But if she is not, the relationship is going to fail. And I have 4 reasons for this. Number 1, biology. Number 2, psychology. Number 3, emotions. And number 4, hypergamy. Let's get to it. Okay, number 1, biology. Men are evolutionarily wired to spread their seeds. That means in order to do that successfully, he cannot be too invested or too attached to just one woman. If every time he sleeps with a woman and he gets really emotionally attached or invested, it will be difficult to sleep with a lot of women. In addition to that, we know that parental investment from a woman is much greater than it is from a man. Women have 9 months of pregnancy followed by many years of raising children. And if she has multiple kids, that's potentially decades of her life responsible for the children. During this time, women are vulnerable, so they have to rely on other people to provide and protect them. Men, on the other hand, don't get pregnant, so they can always leave after impregnating the woman. Many do. You see, when it comes to reproduction, the biological reality between the genders is that men are just less invested in their partners than women are. But for a woman, especially a pregnant woman, her man is everything to her. He's the one who has to provide and protect them. He's the one that ensures the family survive. From this perspective, you can see that the choice of partner is arguably the biggest choice she's ever going to make in her life. If she partners up with a strong, masculine, competent man, that means a lifetime of happiness and security. But if she fucks up and picks a loser, then she's gonna live her life in misery. So if a man has no ambition, no independence, no leadership, he defines himself primarily through his relationships. He's not going to be attractive to women because they know that this man lacks the necessary traits for survival. Back in tribal day, picking the wrong guy could mean death. This is why women are much more invested in the men they're with as well as their relationship. This is normal and natural. Now, Now let's look at this from a psychological perspective. Here we have to ask the uncomfortable question. What kind of a man would be more interested in a woman than she is to him? The answer is a man who is not psychologically sound. Like I said earlier, biology and evolution have positively selected for men to be less invested in their partners. So if a man is more interested, more invested in their partners, something has gone wrong. A man who puts a woman in the center of his world probably has self-esteem issues. He probably has attachment trauma from his childhood and is still looking for some sort of psychological validation. Maybe he is looking for a mother figure. It is not normal for a man to be more invested in a woman than she is to him. A man who is more invested, he seeks commitment and he prioritizes a woman first. He thinks about her all the time. He wants to spend all his time with her. He wants to be closer to her. He follows her everywhere she goes. This is extremely unattractive. The more he does this, the more she is repulsed by him. And women are highly intuitive. They can sense right away if a man is needy or not. They don't want a man who is dependent on them in any way. And they especially don't want to mother their man. This is why when you first meet a woman, every question she asks you could be interpreted as some variations of, "What do you need from me?" She asks, "What do you do for a living?" Translation, "Do you have enough money to support yourself, or are you looking to me to support you?" She asks, "What do you do for fun?" Translation, "Do you have an interesting life, or are you looking to me to make your life interesting?" She asks, "Are you seeing anyone right now?" Translation, "Do other women find you desirable, or am I your only chance of romantic success?" Every interaction, she is scanning you for any signs of neediness. Is he going to be able to support me, or is he going to be a liability? Women don't want men who are needy or dependent on them. Now, more often than not, when a man is more invested in a woman, he wants to spend all his time with her, he prioritizes her, he puts her on the pedestal. This man is more devoted and he's going to stay in the relationship to provide for the family. And there will be women who would settle for these men, but that just means that these women are either running out of time and option and they will settle for just about anybody, or they also have psychological issues that are not resolved. Now, I'm not shaming here, you do what you gotta do, but it doesn't mean they're gonna be happy. These relationships usually end in disaster or heartbreak. Deep down, a woman knows that she doesn't want to be put on a pedestal. She doesn't want to be the center of a man's world. If she is, then that man is a weak man, and it's just a matter of time before she resents him. Okay, number 3, emotions. You know that feeling that we all experience at the beginning of the relationship? That honeymoon phase? It's an amazing feeling because at this stage, there's so much attraction, lust, excitement. The conversation is good. The sex is amazing and passionate. You want to spend every waking moment with this person. And it makes sense because when you first meet somebody, you learn so much about that person. There's so much novelty that you encounter in such a short amount of time. Your brain is going to be firing with excitement from all of that information. This reward mechanism in your brain is very powerful. It releases all kinds of feel-good hormones. In some cases, it can turn these feelings into a drug and you can get addicted to it. But those are the emotions, those are the feelings that I'm talking about, okay? Now, both men and women want to feel those emotions, because why wouldn't you? It's amazing. But these emotions are not shared equally in a relationship. In order to feel these emotions, you have to be the one who is more invested, more interested, more devoted in your partner. And the reason for this is because you get to be with the one you love. The person who is less invested, less interested, less devoted, they get to be loved by the one they're with, and it doesn't feel as good. So if you want the emotions associated with being in love, you have to be the one who is loving more. Make sense? Now, in my opinion, it is a lot more important for the woman to experience these emotions in a relationship than it is for a man. You know that saying, you can make a woman feel anything except bored? Positive emotions are the best ones, but negative emotions are still better than no emotions at all. A woman who hates you might not leave, but a woman who is bored, bet money she's looking for the door. Men are more capable of staying in a relationship with a woman who they're not madly in love with. This happens every single day. As long as she loves him, she respects him, she's loyal and she's not crazy, he's not going to leave the relationship. But for a woman, the moment she doesn't feel those lovey-dovey feelings, she's going to start pushing boundaries. She's going to start to test the man to see how much disrespect she can get away with. She'll nag, complain, criticize. And what's even worse is when the man prioritizes the woman, he'll end up tolerating these behaviors and eventually she'll lose respect for him. You see, when a man is more interested, more invested, more devoted, he is robbing the woman the opportunity to feel those lovey-dovey emotions, and those emotions are the reason why she's in the relationship in the first place. You see what I mean? So men, stop it. Alright, last but not least, reason number 4, hypergamy. Women are hypergamous, they date across and up. Women do not date men as a favor. Their dating choices are motivated by selfish instincts. They want the best for themselves. This is why women want to date men who are taller, stronger, more competent, more impressive, more status than they are. That means the woman wants to be able to admire the man that she's dating. She wants to look up to her man. So if a man prioritizes his woman, he's putting her on a pedestal. That means he's looking up at her, and she is looking down at him. When he's putting her on a pedestal, he's doing the opposite of what she wants, and this relationship will not work. You know that saying, if you treat her like a celebrity, she will treat you like a fan. When he's placing her above him, he is invisible to her. Why? Because she does not look down. Women do not date down, my dude. So do you see now that in a relationship, the woman needs to be more invested, more interested in the man. Otherwise, the relationship is not gonna work. For the men watching, your woman should be the one who is more devoted. She should be the one who is chasing you more. She should be the one pushing for commitment. She should love you more than you love her. That's normal. That's how it's supposed to be. But now you might be asking, Ben, if I'm not invested in my relationship, then what else am I gonna do? Well, I'm glad you asked. Men and women have different priorities in their lives. Women measure themselves through their relationships, while men measure themselves through their accomplishments. I talk about these concepts in this video here. You should definitely check it out. Until next time, stay curious.